I always suspected my mom preferred my sister over me. Growing up, she spoiled my sister with whatever she wanted and took her word over mine whenever we argued. I was always in second place compared to her. For example, when we turned 16, I was given my aunt's old clunker that ended up dying within 6 months. When my sister turned 16, she got the brand new red Volkswagen of her dreams. Mom said that I couldn't continue my piano lessons because they were getting so expensive while still supporting my sister's dance lessons, completions, etc. Things got really bad about a decade ago. When we were in high school, I fell in love with this guy, Joey, and started dating him for a while. Only for him to dump me because he preferred my sister. Yes, my sister seduced him. This really broke me because he was my first love. Well, my sister and Joey ended up getting married after their college graduation. And that is when things went from bad to worse. Our mother had her will made, and she was leaving everything to my sister. For background information, our childhood home was a 2-story building where my mother's flower shop was on the ground floor, and the apartment we grew up in was on the 2nd floor. While I didn't get along with my mom or sister, I loved that flower shop and had been working there for most of my life. I dreamed of owning that shop one day. But instead, my mother was going to leave the building, the shop and the apartment, to my sister. While I could still work in the shop, my sister would be the owner, and I would have to do what she says. There was no use in trying to convince her to change her mind. In her mind, my sister was the married one with a baby on the way. She needed a business and house to raise her family. Meanwhile, I was single and had nothing. So, I cut them off. If my mother didn't see me as a family member, then I wanted nothing to do with them anymore. It was clear who she favored more. So I moved out of my childhood home and was on my own. Less than a year later, I joined the Peace Corps and have been living abroad since. Now, to the present. After not hearing from them for years, my sister found me on social media and reached out to me. She wanted to talk to me, rekindle whatever relationship we had. I told her no, that I never wanted to talk to her, or have anything to do with her, or our mother again. She then starts to write this angry message about how I could do this to her, and why would I turn my back on her. But as far as I am concerned, she is not my family. She hasn't been family in a decade. My partner and our baby are family. I have a new, happier, more fulfilling life in South Africa than I ever did back in the States. I don't want to ever see my old family again because of how they treated me. I don't want them to meet my daughter. If I let them back into my life, I am afraid they will ruin the new life I made for myself. Am I the idiot and being too harsh? Not the idiot to the 100th power. Your mom essentially disowned you. She deserves nothing from you at all. And your sister is very much in the wrong here too, like for allowing your mom to shower her with everything and to give you nothing, not to mention wooing your boyfriend from you and marrying him, which is an incredibly crappy thing to do to you. I can't even believe these people are so clueless and so heartless. Good for you for carving out your own life. You owe them absolutely nothing. Not the idiot. In Japanese, there's a saying that goes, siblings are just beginning of strangers. And I know that not every sibling are like this, but I know a lot that are. Especially after your mother died, it might sound harsh to others, but I don't see how you owe your sister anything. To be honest, if I were you, I wouldn't have even gone to their wedding, haha. But I guess to go is just common courtesy. However, this anger that's built up over the years can't just simply disappear. You do what makes you happy. Not the idiot. You spent your life with your mother and sister putting themselves first. Even in reaching out to you, your sister put herself and her happiness before yours. There was no olive branch offered, no remorse shown for her attitude or approach to your relationship in the past. It was just, how can you do this to me? She even made this about her. If you're happy with your life now, what reason did she give you that you should threaten that happiness for her own? I grew up with a crap family. My parents always favored my siblings over me because growing up, I had a myriad of health issues and was small, scrawny, and weird looking. We were well off at the time, But my parents hated that I wasn't normal and athletic like my siblings. My brother was the beloved child next to my sister. Both my siblings got their tuition paid off by them and got expensive grad gifts, think cars, laptops, gaming systems, and since I was the youngest, I was told that my college money was spent all on them. My uncle paid for me to attend college, and I was lucky enough to go to a top college. My sister and I used to be somewhat close until she helped my then boyfriend cheat on me. This was 4 years ago. I cut her and my family, they still supported her, off right then and there. My brother has made a few costly business errors and is in great debt. Since he used my parents' money, so are they. My sister never had a real career after chasing boyfriend after boyfriend and is struggling on deciding what to do. I'm currently in the tech industry and doing well for myself. I recently bought a 4-bedroom house for $1.7 million with 20% down payment, and I'm proud of myself. My fiancé is a corporate lawyer and comes from a wealthy family. Needless to say, we have a lot of expendable income. My grandfather recently turned 90 and we had a bash for him with the family. My uncle encouraged me to come for my grandpa. I brought along my fiancé to introduce him to the family. My brother tried to get my fiancé to invest in another project of his and he politely refused. I guess my brother got angry because then he started making jabs at me and my fiancé and told us that we were a classic trophy couple, whatever that means, and said that we were selfish to not help family. My parents came out to say that I am going to rot in hell and that I hadn't reached out for a moment to help them with their troubles after they took care of me for all those years. I told them that I'm not obligated to help them after they hurt me for all my life, and if they want to talk finances, then I've already helped them by not sending them my therapy bills. I left in a huff after kissing my grandfather goodbye. My uncle later reached out and said he condemned my parents and that told them off, but he was disappointed at me causing a scene at the party. According to him, they just made rude comments at me, but I went full psycho and screamed and caused a scene. I agree that I did yell and start crying, but it was something I couldn't control, and my grandfather told me he understood when I left. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Those chickens came home to roost in the worst way possible for them. People will always feel entitled to their family's money, even if they treated them like crap. But the full saying goes, blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb. Meaning, DNA don't mean diddly. If they were broke due to health reasons, I would maybe say help them out. But they're broke from get-rich-quick schemes and lending too much money to your brother. Ah well, deem the brakes. Not the idiot. Your folks tearing you down at the party was them writhing in agony that you're doing so well. I don't even know you and I felt a little pride for you while reading your story. Sorry you got upset at the party. With a different frame of mind, you could have enjoyed their feeble attempts to hurt you. By that, I mean your brother trying to talk trash about someone he doesn't even know anymore, while he's lost all his money, is quite audacious and absurd. I'd have laughed in his face or completely ignored him. This is hard, but I do have to go with everyone's the idiot here. I'll admit I've never been in your situation, and while they definitely pushed you into it, you could have simply said that you weren't having this conversation at this point in time. If they don't respect that, leave. If you feel the need to vent or share your feelings with them, you can send a letter or meet with them at a different time. Maybe your grandfather says he understands, but he could just be saying that because he doesn't want to make waves. So here we go. Throwaway account because we are both relatively well-known musical artists that actively tour. I was touring a couple of months back and was stopping by my hometown for a show where another artist that I am friends with currently resides. He asked if he could be on the lineup for the show as support. Even though it was already pretty tight, I decided to squeeze him in because he's my friend and a great performer. We agreed that he would get $200 for his 45-minute performance. Would have been more, but it was a small venue and split between 4 artists. The day of the show rolls around, and we were all super excited and were supposed to meet at the venue 2 hours before the event started so we could sound check. He doesn't show up. He calls me and tells me he will show up half an hour before his set. I was upset, but wasn't too worried about it at this point. The night goes on and 30 minutes before his set he's nowhere to be found. I start panicking and calling him, and he's not answering. I took the initiative and decided to let the current artist be on for a little longer to compensate for his absence. 20 minutes after his set would have started, he runs through the door of the venue drunk as crap and runs up on stage and starts setting his gear up. He got all set up and started his set, which was fine by me. He plays for 15 minutes and then motions me up on stage, and he tells me he has to go. So we transition into my set and he leaves. He hits me up the next day and says, "Yo, can you hit my Venmo with my payment for last night?" So I sent him $35 and said, "Thank you for your 15-minute set last night. I'm honestly super disappointed as you disrupted the show 3 different times." He was really mad about not getting the full amount, but I kept explaining to him that he messed up the whole structure of the show and didn't even hold his end of the deal. This was about 4 months ago, and he messages me every single day without fail asking for the remainder of his money and calling me an idiot. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. A deal is when both parts get their corresponding part. This is not a deal. This is a joke, but good on your part. He's the idiot. Is like paying to get a cat, but the cat is a fat chipmunk. You don't want the fat chipmunk, you want a cat. Or if you want to buy an apple and they give you a painted tennis ball. It's not fair since you did not get the promised performance. If he did not do what he was supposed to get paid for, he should not get paid, or at least in this case, pay the little he did. Not the idiot. He worked less, gets paid less. Years ago I managed a pizza place in college where the owner got this bright idea to have family night to try and draw more people to the dining room. We did a ton of pickup and delivery, but people rarely dined in. He hired a clown to come, do balloon animals for 2 hours every Thursday or something. I was instructed to pay the dude $80 or something for his time. Several times, he showed up a half hour late, or so, and would always get pissed if I only paid him like $60. Not the idiot. He didn't provide the service you would be paying for. If he had performed well for 45 minutes, I would suggest that you pay him and make a note never to work with him again, because at least from the audience's viewpoint he would have done the bit he's technically getting paid for. Being drunk is not good but acceptable if it doesn't affect the performance. Being late could happen to anyone, but then you ensure that you're extra fantastic to make up for it. But from beginning to end he was difficult, stressful, disruptive and unapologetic. I, 40, and my boyfriend, 42, have a daughter, 7, who is a bit of a tomboy. She's honestly a great kid who's into dinosaurs, Star Wars, climbing trees, swords, playing outside, that sort of stuff. She likes wearing dungarees and clothes she can just play in. She does have some dresses, but it's more dress up where she's doing like a little theater performance. This is certainly not something we forced on her, though I guess it runs in the family, as I also was more into traditionally boy stuff as a kid. My family has sort of caught on to that. My boyfriend's father, who I'll call Dill here, and his second wife have not really. They have 2 daughters, partners half-sisters, who were very much pink frilly girls, and that's totally okay. When they were smaller, we sort of went out of our way to try and get gifts for them that matched their interests, Hello Kitty shirts, merch from a band they liked, etc., etc. So anyway, this is my problem. Dill and his second wife have been giving my kid stuff like that, consistently. When she was very little it did not matter that much, but now she has a lot more agency, and is vocal about what she wants. My feeling on it are mixed, as I was raised to just be thankful for gifts in general. But as her parent, I see my little girl not being seen for who she is and being disappointed. Over the years, we have tried to give the in-laws subtle, and not so subtle hints on what our child likes, but to no avail. They keep giving her stuff that looks like it would be for their daughters. So this year I finally said something about it. Dil had dropped off Christmas gifts, we're distancing, and we unpacked them without daughter. I could just see the pouty look on her face. She literally asked me, why does grandpa give me girly stuff when I don't like that? And it kinda broke my heart. So I called my Dil and said that, while we really appreciate his effort, we would really like him to stop buying girly stuff for her now. That we have told him before, but that it's starting to make daughter upset and that, if he's spending money it's better to spend it on something she actually likes. He got huffy and said it was perfectly nice stuff. He turned it on us, saying that this is our college grad way of educating our child. My Dil was a factory worker, boyfriend was the first of the family to go to uni. To be fair, it is perfectly nice stuff. Just not for her. But the last thing pissed me off. I talked to it about my boyfriend, and we have mixed feelings. On one hand, I do not think my kid should get everything she wants and be entitled. On the other, I do sort of expect her granddad to actually acknowledge her interests. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, you did what you could. You clearly told them how your daughter feels. If they want to ignore it and disappoint their granddaughter, it's their choice. All you can do now is wait until next time and see what happens. You may have to explain to your daughter that her grandparents don't really understand and to not count on their gifts. Maybe she could donate them to a kid in need. I feel you. One of my grandmothers always bought us way too small, age-inappropriate clothing growing up. I don't think you're an idiot. All you're trying to do is get what's best for your daughter. I think just tell your daughter to be grateful, thank whoever, and just bin it when you get home. My grandparents gave the crappiest prezzies, and when the time came we just buried them in a bag in the bottom of our wardrobes. Just save money when she gets old enough, and they ask what they should get her. But I wouldn't talk to them about this anymore cause they're getting defensive. When people get defensive there's no talking to them. Not the idiot, the fact that he does not see a problem here is very telling. He either thinks that she should have a predefined role, and he is telling her what she should like and how she should act, or he just does not really know her as a person at all and has no idea what she is interested in. Both of these are terrible grandparenting and insulting to you and your daughter. He needs to just buy things you suggest for him to get if he does not know himself what your daughter is into or wants to have.